I'm going to be showing how to do an Iliacus and Psoas release based off of Katy Bowman's techniques, this specifically from her book, Diastasis Recti. Also just a great technique for the core in general, so it doesn't have to be specific to Diastasis Recti. And I have a little intro video explaining what the Psoas is, what the Iliacus is, and how it can affect our core and our alignment and our posture and just everything else in the body. So check that out. This will just be showing how to do these. And it's less of a stretch, so you probably won't feel a stretch when you're doing these. It's just positions to put ourselves in to allow the Iliacus and the Psoas to be in a more lengthened position so that it can release, and then making other things that we want to do better. So if we want to then open the rest of our kind of hip area, this is going to help. If we want to open the back, this is going to help. If we want to strengthen the core, strengthen the glutes, sometimes this tightness gets in the way. So doing something like this before you do other exercise is great. Or after even just like a long day, this is such a restorative position. So Katy Bowman recommends propping up our upper body a little bit to help our rib cage be in a more kind of dropped position. She calls it like a dropping the ribs. So I have a bunch of pillows here. You can just use pillows. If you have like a wedge pillow, that works really great too. But I want to show you how you can do it with just regular pillows if you don't have a special wedge. So you can kind of prop up so that you're kind of creating that wedge yourself. So there's different ways. Let's see, I'm going to put one first and then kind of put the other one there so it creates a little bit of a slope. And then from there you can use one more pillow for the head, or maybe just like a smaller pillow for the head. I'll try something like this, so it's kind of creating that downward slope. And we'll see how that goes. If it feels like too much or too little, it kind of depends on your body. But you want to find that place where maybe part of the pillow is just hitting kind of that mid-rib cage area. And then from there, someplace that isn't too heavy, propped for the head. And then you should feel when you're in that position that your ribs are pretty much dropped into the floor. And the shoulder girdle is just more relaxed and the neck feels very supported. This feels good to me, so obviously adjust as you need. And then we're going to do an Iliacus release. So hopefully you have a yoga block. If not, you can also use a mat or rolled up towel. The yoga block is nice because we're going to use it at this height, so a little bit higher. So even just, I've done this with books. Books can be a little bit wide because you're going to see we just kind of want a smaller surface. We're going to put it under the pelvis. So go ahead and bridge your hips up. If this feels like too high also, you can use something smaller. And you're going to place the block towards the lower part of your pelvis, so a little bit more towards your tailbone. So not like, this would be like the middle of my pelvis, like the sacrum. This would be like my low back. So I'm going to put it so it's closer to that tailbone, lower part of the sacrum. And already that kind of pulls me into this kind of more like curled position. And sometimes this might feel like you might need to adjust your pillows. So I kind of adjusted mine. Felt a little too high. So now it's a little smaller there. And that's what we want to encourage. We don't want to force the tuck position, but we want to just feel how that allows the pelvis to just hang back, just like the ribs were hanging back. So I feel like she might even recommend having the ribs even a little bit like dropped more. Yeah, and I can already feel this inside of me is starting to just kind of like drop and hollow back. So I don't feel a stretch like in the traditional sense, but I do feel like there's some tension in this area. And so that's why we're in this position, to allow that place to just release that tension. So this would be just where you would hang out. Maybe just encouraging your body to relax tension you might be holding in your thighs or your low back or your ribs. And I like to place my hands on my ribs and just take really nice, slow, deep breaths here. Just imagining that kind of hollowed out feeling as you just breathe. And you can just hold that for as long as you want to do. I'm not going to hold it. Just want to show you how to do it. And then for the psoas release, it's a similar feeling. This one definitely have a little bit more pillows ready in case you need to prop yourself up higher. We're not going to use the block, but we're going to start upright so that your legs are straight. If that feels hard for you, you don't have to sit up straight yet, but you do want to feel like the hamstrings are touching the mat. And what you're going to do is start to roll back slowly and notice that the hamstrings continue touching the floor. And then my mat's a little sticky, so I'm kind of adjusting my legs against that stickiness. And there's going to be a moment where you feel that the hamstrings are going to want to lift. And right at that moment where you feel like maybe your legs would kind of do that is where you would want to prop yourself up. So I feel like for me, it was maybe like around this part, right? So I need to prop myself up quite a bit more than I was before. So let's see. I'm going to add that pillow and bring it a little closer so it kind of, so right about there, I feel like my hamstrings are going to want to lift. So you don't want to do it when they're already lifted. Try to find that sweet spot, and it's kind of awkward, to get into it a little bit. And then again, so I'm going to add even another pillow, so that, again, you're not holding any tension to get into that position. You don't have to use a lot of muscles. You're just kind of getting to this position, and again, this is putting the psoas in a lengthened position. Remember that the psoas goes up to kind of meet the diaphragm, so it's coming up kind of towards where the lumbar spine and the thoracic spine meet. And so we allow that upper attachment to just kind of be able to sink back, and the lower attachments are kind of in that pelvis and leg. And we're just going to hang out there, making sure, again, that we can take deep breaths. Close the eyes if you need to. And just allow that psoas to kind of hang out in a lengthened position. I noticed that I was kind of holding my legs to stay parallel, and so I relaxed them and they wanted to turn out a little bit, and I think that's okay because we don't want all this excess gripping to kind of hold. So you can just hang out here when you're watching TV, if you can see the TV, maybe you're reading a book, as long as you're not straining to do whatever it is you need to do. Or this is just your moment to meditate. Maybe if you do any kind of meditative practice, breathing practice, you do it here at the end of your day, or maybe in the middle of the day is a little bit better. And you just breathe and relax. All right, so really simple ways to release this area. And check out my other video explaining why you'd want to do that and the benefits of doing that and why we do this versus like intense stretching. All right, thank you.